Understand, engage, Civicate. In this video, we're going to simplify and summarize some of the most important and relevant Supreme Court cases so they will be easy to understand. The Supreme Court of the U.S., or the SCOTUS for short, is the most powerful and influential court in the judicial branch of the government. It can be considered a more powerful part of the federal government because it makes the final decisions on whether the actions of the other branches in the local, state, and federal governments are unconstitutional. The Supreme Court chooses which cases it hears, so these cases typically involve important laws or constitutional rights. Any citizen or organization can ask the Supreme Court to review a decision made by a lower court after they have exhausted all the other courts. The Supreme Court then decides whether to accept or reject the case. It can uphold or reverse the lower court's decision or send it back to the lower court for review. When the Supreme Court writes an opinion describing its actions, its interpretation becomes the new law of the land. Supreme Court cases affect the entire nation. When people or organizations have disputes with one another, they have the option of filing a lawsuit or suing, so that the courts can decide who is right. We refer to lawsuits by the names of the people or organizations involved. Let's take a look at some of the most important Supreme Court decisions that affected our country. The Constitution did not give many details about the powers of the Supreme Court. In 1803, Marbury v. Madison established the idea of judicial review, which meant the Supreme Court could oversee the actions of the other two branches of government. When Thomas Jefferson became president, his Secretary of State, James Madison, blocked the previous administration's appointment of a government official named William Marbury. The Supreme Court decided that these actions were illegal, therefore establishing judicial review. McCulloch v. Maryland took place in 1819 after an employee at a Maryland branch of the Bank of the United States refused to pay the tax that Maryland placed on the bank. It set up implied powers, which are powers not clearly stated in the Constitution that are given to the government, because the Supreme Court stated that the creation of a national bank was constitutional. It also set up the Supremacy Clause, which states that federal laws are superior to state laws, because the Supreme Court ruled that the state of Maryland cannot tax the Bank of the United States. Brown v. Board of Education was decided in 1954, and it is one of the most important African American rights cases of all time. A group of black parents felt that their children were not equally protected under the law, since they were not allowed to go to certain public schools because of their race. The Supreme Court decided that separate schools for different races are unequal and dehumanizing. Engel v. Vitale in 1962 involved New York public schools being required to recite non-denominational morning prayers. A group of parents believed this established a religion, therefore violating the First Amendment's freedom of religion. The Supreme Court decided that morning prayers in public schools are unconstitutional. Gideon v. Wainwright, decided in 1963, dealt with a man named Clarence Earl Gideon, who was charged with breaking and entering a pool hall. He could not afford legal help, so he was forced to defend himself, and he lost. The Supreme Court decided that state courts must provide free legal help to people charged with a crime who cannot afford it. In Tinker v. Des Moines in 1969, a group of students peacefully protested the Vietnam War by wearing black armbands to school, but their school didn't allow it. The Supreme Court decided that the students' actions were constitutional because they were not dangerous and did not prevent learning. This case confirmed that students do not lose their constitutional rights at school. Finally, Wisconsin v. Yoder, which was decided in 1972, was brought to the Supreme Court because Amish parents were angry that Wisconsin law required their children to go to school until they were 16. They said it violated their religious beliefs and their free exercise of religion. The Supreme Court agreed, deciding that religious freedom is more important than a state's laws. There are many other important decisions, including decisions that involve self-defense, women's health, college admission policies, and discrimination against certain groups of people. See my page on SCOTUS cases for more. The Supreme Court has had an important role in interpreting the laws and the Constitution in ways that affect our lives. Every year, there are new decisions by the court that can make a difference for many people. Thanks for watching!